Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. I've got a story to share that's been weighing on me. So let's dive in. My name's Bryce, and I've always believed relationships are built on loyalty, that unspoken promise that your partner's got your back no matter what. But the day my wife defended her co-worker over me, I realized I didn't mean as much to her as I thought. Let me take you back to where it all started. I met Valeria at a corporate networking event, a mixer packed with professionals from our industry. She was representing a rival company, and though I can't recall every detail that night, I remember seeing her. We chatted briefly, and I made sure to get her number before we parted ways. I didn't know what would come of it, but I wanted to see her again. Our communication began casually. Texts about our day, the occasional meme, but soon those messages turned into daily check-ins. Before long, we were dating, drawing each other not just romantically, but intellectually. We connected over our careers, the pressures of growth, and the expectations we face in a cutthroat industry. It felt like we were on the same team. Before we got married, we had deep conversations about our future. We agreed to delay kids for a few years to focus on our careers, discuss personal goals, and plan how we'd support each other's ambitions. We even mapped out how we'd run our household. Chores, responsibilities, everything, to ensure neither of us felt overwhelmed. We were both career-driven, and it felt good knowing we were being honest about what that would take. When we tied the knot, I thought I'd made the smartest decision of my life. I wasn't just marrying a beautiful woman. I was marrying someone who understood me, someone with her own goals who respected mine. Everything felt aligned, like nothing could go wrong with the foundation we'd built. The first few years of marriage went as planned. We managed the house smoothly, splitting responsibilities based on who was less busy. We respected each other's space and time, and despite chasing professional growth, we always found moments to reconnect. I thought that balance meant we were set. But when the time came to start a family, like we'd planned, Valeria started stalling. One year, it was, let's get through this fiscal year. I want to hit my work targets. I understood. The next year, it was a regional role she wanted to pursue. I supported her again. I love my wife and try to be understanding. But I'm not naive. There's a biological clock when it comes to kids. It's not pressure, it's reality. 3 years of delay started to feel less like a phase and more like avoidance. After that third year, I couldn't pretend everything was fine. One evening after dinner, I sat her down and told her how I felt, reminding her of our plans and how I'd waited patiently. Instead of acknowledging me, she got defensive, stood up, crossed her arms, and said, "So I'm just supposed to put my career on hold because you want to be a daddy so badly?" I was speechless. She went on about a major promotion she'd worked years for, saying I should be supportive instead of derailing her. I just sat there, realizing the same promotion had been the excuse for 3 years straight. It wasn't a detour anymore, it was a new normal. And I couldn't accept that. I told her I wasn't happy, that I felt pushed aside. The conversation ended without resolution. What followed was worse. Valeria emotionally checked out. There was no big fight, just silence. She stopped trying. We no longer shared our days or laughed like we used to. The warmth vanished from our home. If I tried to talk, she'd say she was tired or busy. If I suggested a weekend getaway or dinner, she'd dismiss it like it was a burden. Little by little, she distanced herself, not physically. We still shared a bed, lived under the same roof, but emotionally, she was gone. I didn't want to make rash decisions or give up on what we built, so I stayed. At first, Valeria just came home later than usual, texting about clients or late projects. I understood our careers demanded it sometimes, but soon the text stopped. I'd sit in the living room checking the time, convincing myself she'd walk in any second. When she did, there were no explanations. No, "Hey babe, sorry I'm late." She'd head straight to the bathroom, shower, change, and go to bed. If I asked about her evening, she'd brush it off or say she was too tired to talk. Then came a night that changed everything. She walked in, heading for the bedroom, but as she passed, I smelled alcohol on her breath. I stood up and asked calmly, "Valeria, were you drinking?" She snapped, "So what if I had a few drinks with friends? Am I not allowed to have a life now?" I just wanted honesty. But she was already defensive, like I was interrogating her. I asked why she didn't tell me where she was or who she was with, and she shot back, "Were you my handler now?" When she tried to push past, I gently held her arm to stop her from walking away. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you don't let go right now, I'm calling police for harassment." I froze, my hand dropping before my brain caught up. She walked away, shutting the bedroom door like nothing happened. I stood there trying to process it. I wasn't angry, I was shaken. I realized I was no longer emotionally safe in my own home. After that, she barely spoke to me. No greetings, no conversations, not even basic courtesy. But it wasn't just silence. She started doing things to push my buttons. Staying out even later, sometimes not coming home at all, like she was daring me to react. The worst part? I still hoped she'd snap out of it. I still tried to be patient. Weeks later, my company sent me to deliver a package to Valeria's firm. I thought it might be nice to say hello if she wasn't busy. At her office, I signed and got directions and headed up. As I passed an employee I vaguely recognized from Valeria's stories, I heard her mutter something derogatory. I stopped, turned, and asked, "What did you just say?" He acted innocent, like I'd imagined it, which made my blood boil. I asked again, firmer. That's when Valeria appeared, probably alerted I was there. I explained what happened, how I heard the comment, confronted him, and he denied it. I expected her to be shocked, but she looked at me like I was the problem. She turned to him, asked if he said it, and when he shook his head, she said, "He wouldn't lie about something like that." I stood there speechless. My wife was defending a co-worker over me in front of everyone. That moment broke something in me. I didn't argue or cause a scene. I delivered the package, wished the department a good day, and left with a lump in my throat. I didn't go back to the office. I went home, sat on the bed for an hour, trying to make sense of it all. This woman had delayed our family plans for years, emotionally shut me out, come home smelling of alcohol, barely communicated, sometimes not coming home at all, and now she'd publicly chosen a co-worker over me. If I stayed another day, I was accepting this treatment. That day, I booked an appointment with a divorce lawyer. When Valeria came home that evening, she didn't acknowledge my feelings or show remorse. Instead, she attacked me, ranting about how I'd embarrass her at work, made her the joke of her office. She yelled for what felt like forever, then stormed off the bedroom. I sat in shock, unable to believe she'd turned it around to make me the villain. Looking back, I realized how much I'd overlooked. After digging deeper, I discovered Valeria's co-worker was more than just a colleague. She was siding with him because they had something going on. It explained everything. I promised myself I'd deal with him later, but first I needed to free myself from this marriage. As I share this, I want to leave you with lessons I learned the hard way, hoping they spare you some heartache. Loyalty isn't guaranteed in marriage. You hope your bond is unbreakable, but if your partner isn't as invested, don't ignore the signs. I did, thinking things would improve, but they only got worse. If you're the only one sacrificing, the relationship is unbalanced. It's supposed to be give and take. But if you're carrying all the weight, resentment builds. I was the only one compromising while Valeria prioritized her career, and it crushed me. Silence in a relationship is louder than arguments. Emotional detachment isn't just needing space, it's withdrawal. Valeria stopped talking, stopped caring, and I knew the end was near. Finally, never stay where you're devalued. You shouldn't have to beg for respect. I tried to make Valeria see my worth, but she couldn't, and no amount of effort changed that. If respect isn't given, walk away. As I close this chapter, I urge you to reflect on your relationships. If you see emotional detachment, imbalance, or disrespect, don't ignore it. Relationships should make you feel valued, supported, loved. If that's not happening, rethink things. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. What lessons have you learned? Are there signs you wish you caught earlier? Share and let's talk. Like and share this to help others who might need it. You never know who this could reach today.